The Bromley Boys, the true story of supporting the worst football team in Britain. Bromley Boys, the movie, has been inspired by a book by Dave Roberts. It had an awful lot of charm, an awful lot of comedy, and I thought it would make an incredible film.
It's all set around 69, 70, so it's all the clothes that I like, the music that I like, the soundtrack that's going to be incredible.
It was the truthfulness of the piece that really attracted to me in the first place, but it actually made me belly laugh when I read it, and that's very rare.
It has such beautiful relationships, and it's not just about football, it's about this young boy's journey.
It's about the real heart of what a community sporting endeavour is, and it's not about how much money you can make.
The story is about me when I was 14 and becoming obsessed with my local football team, Bromley, who unfortunately were really useless at the time.
I think this is a really lovely story that touches the hearts of every single one of us.
He starts off as very socially awkward. He's bullied at school, he doesn't have any friends, and through Bromley Football Club he grows into someone who's got a solid group of friends and he finds love. So I found sort of real identification, and I could really identify with the character.
If we couldn't have found a really good actor to play Dave, really the film doesn't exist.
We must have seen about 1,000 potentials for Dave.
One of which, he walked in, he sat down, it was 100% him.
It's the first lead role I've had. I've played little bit parts and just like minor characters in series and stuff like that, but this has been a completely different experience. For these past 4 weeks I have just been Dave. I've not had time to be Brennock, I am Dave. It
feels very strange seeing a 14-year-old version of myself on screen, but again, Brennock has done a fantastic job.
In every scene he did, there was truth, there was reality, and there was a spark inside him. He's a very, very accomplished actor for somebody of his age.
Any scene that I have with Jamie Foreman, who plays Charlie McQueen, is just a joy, because we work so well together and I feel that we get the comic timing right and we get the softer moments as well.
I don't know what you think you know, Derek, but you don't, okay?
I love Charlie. I'm really enjoying playing him. You know, the cravat and the old Titfer, and you know, it's just a little bit of Sid James, a little bit of Stanley Holloway, a little bit of all those guys, you know. So it's a great. I'm not doing a pastiche, but it's a great opportunity for me as a contemporary actor to be able to look back and at the roots of fine British actors.
There wasn't really much of a challenge for me in taking this role because I'm a new mum myself, and I feel so many of the things already that Gertie feels, and she is the one person that's rooting for her son to make something of himself and to follow his dreams no matter what. And even when she kind of has to go behind her husband's back to do that, she'll do it because she knows in the end it will be the best result.
They did actually create a little lovely family, and you'd often see them waiting together before they could actually get through shooting something. They'll be just playing games together, just like a family would.
No, David, you know how your dad feels about public transport?
No, how does he feel about it?
Disgruntled. The biggest challenge for me as a football fan in real life is to play a character who's greatly disillusioned by football. And I did tell Brennock, our leading man, my son, that you better get yourself down to a football match before you start this film, because you're never going to have that feeling. He went to see Worthing play, and they're in the league now that Bromley were in at the time. And he said, oh, it's great. He really got the feeling.
I'm Ruby McQueen.
Dave Roberts.
Football is actually the backdrop for the film. The story is about a boy, a girl, and the worst football team in Britain.
She's very bubbly and upbeat, she's quite well spoken and Probably like one of the best characters I've ever done. My favourite scene would have to be the party scene. That's when she's like, right, I'm going to be the real Ruby McQueen right now. Right, I'm going to put my dress, I'm going to put my hair up, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that.
For me, she's perfect. They were the kind of qualities that a girl had in the 70s. She was this wonderful, sweet, innocent character.
I kind of just like channeled myself while I was channeling her, and it just came out as this character, and yeah, it was really fun to do.
As a great man once said, let he whose opinion is pushed be he who has not been. No, it's not right.
The same people that were in the book are represented in the film, and they've been on the shoot most days, and they're really enjoying it. So
This is Roy Oliver. I'm Roy Oliver. No, you're not. I'm Roy. No, you're Roy Oliver. Yeah. We're going to do that again. Yeah.
To see part of my life, a long time ago maybe, but part of my life reenacted and on the big screen, it's just surreal, and it's just amazing to see an actor, Ewan McIntosh, play myself.
Derek is one of the guys who Dave kind of latches on to, who he thinks are quite cool, because they know the players sort of know them a bit, and so he sort of joins their gang.
Was I ever that good looking? And does he realise that he's going to look like this in 40 years' time?
In terms of actual preparation for the character, I didn't get to meet Peter himself until after we were shooting, per se, but we did have chats about what he was like and what life was like back then, so that informed some of the choices and what have you during the course of it.
He's a footballer. He's probably one of the better footballers, and he's also a teacher at the same time, so kind of mixes and matches what he does. It was nice to kind of come out my comfort zone and, you know, change my hairstyle and change what I'm about, so that's what kind of attracted me to it.
Okay, let's go.
In 1970s, football wasn't played in a dynamic way because the pitches were so bad, and often they were full of mud and the balls would bounce all over the place. So to try to recreate 70s football was much harder than trying to create something that was very, very slick. So I wanted to create that idea of being a supporter, but actually being at a bit of a distance.
When I first thought about this football sequences, I felt I would like to move the camera more and make it more dynamic, and then I discovered that actually what Steve was after was very simplistic approach, very similar to the way it would be shot back in the 60s.
He's an incredible cinematographer, and he's such a nice guy to work with, so we could go through every single scene and work out how we wanted to do it, why we wanted to do it this way, looking at the colours, looking at the background frames, looking at the foreground frames, looking at where we were going to put the actors. We went for these things called anamorphic prime lenses. Now these are this size, so now the camera's about here, which is almost impossible to handheld at any time. But the lenses themselves were 70s lenses that had been slightly modified, and it gave the look straight away of what a feature film would have looked like back in the 70s.
Action, Lucy.
Well, in terms of how we found our director, I mean, Steve Kelly, he was, I think he was our 4th or 5th choice. Only joking, Steve. Number 1. You were number 1.
Steve was the perfect type of director for this film. You know, he had the right energy, loved football, was from the area, and he knows how to get the best out of everyone that he's working with, and he encourages the talent that he's got.
Steve is absolutely amazing. I've been very fortunate to work with directors like him.
He'll give you the emotional notes, but he's also really happy to technically get things right as well, and he gets the whole thing kind of in unison.
There was always new challenges every day that you had to overcome, and sometimes it's having a team there, a core team that will fight for the cause, and if you have any blows, that you're there to to fight together and find solutions around these problems.
When we look at Bromley Football Club's ground now, for example, I mean, the standards have come on so much. Their pitch is like a carpet. They have a wonderful grandstand that they use for corporate entertaining. That wasn't going to work for this film. We needed to replicate the Bromley stand and pitch as it was back then.
The tarmac on the roads have changed, the street signs have changed, there's satellite dishes wherever you look. Everyone's got a burglar alarm and everyone has remodernised their houses. We did find a few amazing locations where the houses, whole developments were developed in the 70s, and these were lovely, beautiful, bright, aspirational houses. We tried to have as many period things as possible, like period cars. We had people supplied us with those, which are absolutely fantastic. They would turn up 6 o'clock in the morning, wait with us all day so that we could show their car in the scene as well. The design team really did a brilliant job. They would work on microscopic details to make sure whenever we turned the camera on something, it looked real, and it just transported the actors back so that they turn up on set and they kind of go, I'm here, I'm wearing the clothes, I'm really feeling this, and you got those authentic performances as a result of incredible set design and the whole design team.
We did the best that we could, and we really captured the period, and we really captured the personalities of the characters, and that was what was important for me. I wanted every single character to have their own personality, and I didn't want them to be carbon copies of each other. As a person, you're not always period accurate, so you might be like a year before or a year after. So for the slightly older characters, I looked at the slightly before the time period as well, just so that everyone had their own personality.
I loved working both with Becky and all the art department team. I think our job actually overlapped massively. I loved how in the morning I was getting someone dressed, and then we would send it to makeup, and Becky would be like, oh, what about this, we do this. And then it came completed, and then we brought it to the actor to set, and everything else was ready to go.
I can never say enough about what great costume and costumiers do to a movie. They don't just do their job, they add to the whole essence of the film, and they help all the actors and everyone else to be there. They had such a tough job because we, on some days, had 30, 40, 50, 60 extras. The amount of clothes you need to make everyone period is phenomenal.
In the book is pretty much true. It's pretty much as it happened. Obviously, it was sort of 45 years ago or so, so some of the dialogue is invented.
Obviously, it's a 300-page book that you've got to really condense down into one little story. So, yeah, it's difficult. It was tough, but I think, luckily Dave, the author, isn't precious about his source material. He just wanted a great movie, and I think that really helped me, is that I could expand a lot on what he did. But a lot of his original writing is in there. A lot of the stuff we've pulled out has been slotted straight in.
But who's been the favourite character for you
the favourite character
outside of Dave?
Outside of Dave.
Who's been the other favourite character that you've enjoyed working with?
There's only one. There has to be only one, and that's Ewan McIntosh, who plays Derek. Yeah.
Very well done.
Got it.
When you work on a production and you all have that kind of collective love for it, it does shine through, and it does come and it creeps through the screen at the end of the day. So I'm hoping that people feel when they watch it, when they eventually watch it, that they love it as much as we're enjoying doing it.
Can I sum this film up in 3 words? Bloody good film.